When I see a pretty girl walking down the street, I think two things. One part of me wants to take her out, talk to her, be real nice and sweet, and treat her right. And the other part of me wonders what her head would look like on a stick.
It's evil! Don't touch it!
It's alive!
I was with you.
They're coming to get you. Power of Grayskull. This is
Hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Welcome back again to yet another edition of Hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. I'm Zach. Joining me always is Matt and Lindy. How's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
And holy shit, we're actually going to do this.
Are we going to do an episode where there's a bunch of killing?
Yeah, again.
That's new.
There's quite a bit of killing.
But this is like I don't know. To me, like I said earlier, this is the sociopath.
He's a monster.
Yeah, he was smart. He was like if Andre the Giant could like speak in like fluid sentences. He was a dangerous man.
Yeah,
So.
exceptionally dangerous. A dangerous child.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From the get-go. I mean, we'll get into it, but yeah, about like 15, I got me a score of 2. 15.
Yes.
So,
And of all the people, I think that first time I heard this story, when it got to that part, I'm like, as much as I loved my grandpa and my grandma, it's like, oh, you sick motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
well, that's just it. No, yeah, there's just something broken in that brain. So,
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I actually spoiled a little something there. Sorry about that.
yeah, it's not a real big spoiler. I mean, anybody who doesn't know,
Anybody who's into true crime knows about Ed.
he's probably in the top 10 for me as far as like the ones that I know about from the U.S. So,
Mm-hmm.
and if I know about it and I don't really follow true crime, I figure everybody else does too. But you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go for it.
Still fun.
Damn
Well,
it! I said it.
You said it.
I broke my own rule.
I knew you were going
It took me.
It was
like,
in your head. It was in your
took
head,
me
and
like-
it wasn't.
Took me like a whole 2 minutes, and I already broke it.
Fuckity fuck.
All right, Lindy.
Should we get into Ed?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
Just a
do this.
Co-ed killer. All right. Edmund Emil Kemper III came into the world on December 18th, 1948, weighing 13 pounds.
That's a big boy.
That's a
That's a
big boy.
That's a big boy. Hell of
He
a
is-
woman too. I mean,
Ugh.
damn, 13.
Yeah.
Like a turkey.
Yeah, that's bigger than the turkeys that I buy for Thanksgiving. It's fine.
Right?
He is the middle child between two sisters, born to Edmund Jr. and Clarnell Kemper. Ed's father, Edmund, was a World War II veteran who settled in Burbank, California after the war. He took work after the war testing nuclear weapons. Both Edmund Jr. and Clarnell were strict disciplinarians, but Clarnell was by far the worst of the two. Edmund's father, Edmund Jr., can be quoted as stating, testing bombs was nothing when compared to being married to Clarnell, and being married to her had more of an impact on him than his 396 days and nights fighting on the front had.
Wow.
That's
She
something.
sounds like a real wiener.
Yes. she sounds like a prize for sure.
He's like, I'd rather be on the front lines in the middle of a war
You
than be
Mhm.
home
kidding.
with that woman.
Yeah, and it's you can actually find the quotes of him saying things like that all over the place. He was not shy about his shit talking about his ex-wife, that's for sure. So,
I got to imagine if it was actually that bad, it was probably that bad.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
had to be. Yeah.
I came home from war and I wish I was back because this bitch sucks.
I came home from the war and took a job testing nuclear weapons,
Hoping I
thinking
would
maybe,
die.
just maybe, one will blow up and I do not have to go home to this bitch.
I mean, that's saying something. I've dated
It
some real
certainly is.
winners, let me tell you, but
Nothing along those lines.
nothing
Yeah,
even close to
no.
that.
No.
How was your date the other night? I'd rather go to war.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Sounds like a great time. Ed was very close to his father, but his mother was not an affectionate person and only showed him love on extremely rare occasions. His mother's cruelty and lack of affection fueled Ed's rage towards her. His parents' divorce in 1957 only made the rage stronger. Clarnell was unfortunately awarded custody of the children, and she moved them immediately to Helena, Montana. And without Ed's father uh, there wasn't a buffer between Ed and his domineering and emotionally abusive mother.
It was
And
very much a patriarchy, the whole
Mhm.
family, right?
Yes, Yeah.
It's like, okay, here's where it starts going downhill. How old is he?
he was
Eight?
8. Yes.
8 years old. Yep. Starts going, okay.
I mean, when
Yeah.
you're
Starts
starting
going
at
downhill
8 and
already.
everything's already going bad at 8,
Yes.
in the immortal words of my ex-boss, that's not good.
This
It certainly is.
It's just not good. Yeah. All right, continue.
So he, being stuck with his mom, he started to display his anger and his violent tendencies. He fantasized about committing violent acts, mostly against his mother. He started to play with his sister's dolls, and I'm not saying in the good, caring, nurturing way that, some little boys display. He was using them to act out his murderous fantasies or sexual rituals, and then
Now,
he would tear their heads off.
I heard from a story, not a story, it's from an interview with him that he actually cut the head off of one of these dolls, but it was in retribution because he got to spend the summer in New York and he got this really cool cap gun. And his sister was really jealous that he got to spend the summer in New York.
Mhm.
And so she broke the cap gun and he retaliated by cutting the head off of this doll.
Mhm.
Fair
That's
enough.
that's the story that I heard.
Yeah.
That, but he's a sociopath, so he's
Who can
probably
believe
fucking lying. And
what?
I just thought I'd throw it in there.
Yeah, definitely. He did when he was done with the sexual rituals or the murderous fantasies, he would decapitate their heads. He started to start fire. He started to start fires. That sounds funny. And one of his favorite games was to pretend he was a dying prisoner in either the gas chambers or the electric chair.
Yeah, but he played those with his younger sister, correct?
Yeah,
Super,
Yeah.
super no red flags.
All right,
Not at all.
All right, now you gas me.
throw the switch.
Didn't they also play a game where they would roll each other up in carpet as tight as they could to
Hmm.
see how long it took to get out?
Hmm.
No red
Yeah.
flags. Everything here seems perfectly normal. It's,
You didn't
There's
do
no-
any of this during your childhood? Not one of them?
yeah, I did. That's why I said it's perfectly normal.
Yeah, okay. It didn't take Ed long to shift his focus from dolls to small animals. Ed would torture a small animal or he would bury them alive. Once he dug up a cat he had buried and cut off its head and stuck the head on a pole.
Oh, trigger warning, Beth. But it was late.
Ooh,
So
sorry.
Yeah. Nah, she's not gonna listen to this one. Trust me.
Okay.
Uh,
I should have said from the beginning, we get into this really fast.
it was in retribution for something that his mother did to him. Correct.
Yes.
This was the family cat. That he
That-
everything in his life.
That one wasn't the family cat. That was just, I think that one was just a neighborhood cat.
Spoiler alert. He did this to the family cat too. Sorry.
Yes. So the family cat, he dismembered with a machete and placed the remains in his sister's closet because the cat favored her over him.
That's what you do.
Well, that was nice of him, I guess.
I still don't see where any of this is out of the ordinary yet.
I mean, it's
Not at all.
I know it's in 8 pieces, but it still likes you more, so it should go in your room.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be a little considerate. It liked you more. You should see it last, right?
I didn't want you to miss it.
Gentle
When-
Jesus.
When Clarnell found the cat, Ed denied having anything to do with its death. she couldn't
Th-
prove it. So
That's how cats die. They
Yeah.
just-
didn't you know that they just
God.
implode?
They just break up into like like
happens?
eight pieces because they carry around machetes and
I don't know.
Mhm,
it's normal.
mhm.
I mean, this is
Those
the way it
those
goes.
cuts aren't as clean as you think they are. They're not.
Well,
They're not.
Ed,
That's not a machete cut.
Ed, what's that up against the wall? Well, it's a bloody machete, but that means nothing. You have nothing on me.
That was
Right.
from a different cat. I didn't kill our cat. God.
Jeez, Mom. Clarnell placed a mattress in their rat-infested, dimly lit basement and started locking a prepubescent Ed down there because she was afraid that when he hit puberty, he would harm or rape his sisters.
Okay, if I'm locked in a rat infested basement, I don't know what I will do when I get out of it.
Right?
But that sounds like hell.
That
Mhm.
sounds like a Chuck Norris scene from like Missing in Action or something. I don't know.
It sounds like nothing I want to be a part of. Even hearing it,
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah.
Well, Ed took this a little different, and he actually started to refer to this space as his bedroom.
Well, yeah.
He's Willard.
I mean, I guess if you're in it, you kind of have a different perspective on it, but it was his away from everybody else time, and never mind that Mom was literally padlocking the door,
And he's
so that I couldn't get out in the middle
he's-
of the night or do anything.
he's 8 years old when this is going on.
I
so-
think at this point he was 12.
Okay, so
His best
so
friends were rats.
he's being and probably not more than average, except for the killing the cat part. But just like raising hell, being a
Yeah.
fucking boy, because that's what
Yeah.
boys do.
Yeah.
And his mom retaliates by locking him in the basement.
Yes, so that he can't
Nice move,
get at
lady.
his
Mhm.
sisters.
Way
which,
to go.
Which he never actually showed.
Oh, she'll pay. She'll pay for it later. I know that.
She'll pay for it later. Yeah, he never actually showed, like, interviews of the time of people around were like, he's never shown any kind of anything towards his sisters other than just being a brother. So
Right.
the fact that she jumped to
Jumped
those
the gun a little bit.
conclusions, yeah.
Her life might not have been so great either.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
She was a drunk and just an emasculating woman. So at 13, when he was not able to
All
tolerate
right. I'm just gonna
his-
say she was a bitch because she was a fucking bitch.
she was a
Damn it! I did it twice. All right.
Yes.
But she was a bitch. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know how anybody
Who
put
else
up
to
with
put
that.
that?
Yeah, I don't. There's no better way to. Sorry.
I can think of a couple.
Well, I mean, now without using that word, I'm not going to use anymore.
Not anymore at all. While we're actually getting into the rest
When you
of
guys
this,
catch up, I'll start using it again.
Yeah, okay, I might have
You're
blew it on that episode.
I figure
but
if we go for like 600 episodes, you might be caught up by episode 666. So
okay.
There we go.
I don't know. I blew it on that episode because I didn't come through, but I think if you went back and counted, I'm probably on your coattails.
no, I don't think so.
No, you're not that bad?
No.
Okay.
No,
Guys,
not even close.
Do not make me say challenge accepted. I have other things to research right now.
Okay.
That's true. That's true. Move ahead, Lindy. Nothing.
Moving along.
So at 13, when he was not able to tolerate his mother any longer, he ran away. Ed managed to make it to California in hopes of living with his father.
Wait, did you
When-
just say California?
Yes, I did. Just like that. That's exactly how I said it.
It sounded spot on. I nailed it.
Yeah, right.
When Ed arrived at Edmund Jr.'s house, he found that his father had remarried and now had a stepson who his father actually had a super good relationship with. So,
Because he wasn't like a 6'4", 350-pound freak.
yeah, because at this time Ed actually was 6'4". Ed was allowed to stay for a brief visit, but then he was shipped back to his mother's house, and he was super heartbroken and distraught. When he was 14, Clarnell was planning to remarry again. This would be her third marriage.
Mm.
So she's already blown two.
So it's probably them, not her, is what I'm guessing.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't want Ed around the house anymore, so she blamed his 6'4" height that she was unable to manage him, and her being convinced that he would harm his sisters. She justified sending Ed to live with his grandparents, Edmund Sr. and Maud Kemper, in North Fork, California.
And this part goes great. So
This part goes great.
I think I forgot to mention this earlier, but so when he's living with his dad, I think his mom actually let him go spend a summer, like a month, with his dad. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of saw what it was actually like to be like normal, because he saw how his dad treated his stepbrother, and he was being treated normal, and he reacted in a positive way because he saw, okay, it was all positive reinforcement. Like his dad said, hey, you want to do something, then go do this for me and I'll do this for you, and his dad kept his word. So that was all completely new to him. But
I think this is one of those nature or nurture things where it was more nurture,
because his dad also I think his mom was also pretty domineering, and it was another, I think both sides, weren't they both?
Yes.
Very domineering women. They ran both sides of the family.
Oh yeah.
So
Maud was a strict disciplinarian, and she also emasculated Ed the same way that his own mother had.
Was it just his height that made them want to? Well, we got to take control of this. We got to be in control of him because he's so big. We got to.
I think at the time,
Ed Ray, the small dick instead of Andre the Giant. I don't know.
That's coming up later.
Ed Ray.
It's not coming up real big, but it's coming up later.
Spoiler alert.
I think at the time, moms were just kind of still in the housewife. They are in charge of running the home. They're in charge of doing those kinds of things. The husbands weren't around. So
No, but like these women bossed their husbands around too, like that.
Oh, yes.
Like they were children.
Mm-hmm. But, and the religious aspect and all of that kind of stuff, it just kind of played a bad role. And not to mention, like you're coming out of the Great Depression, World War II just ended. There's all kinds of uncertainty, and women, in the time kind of had to step up to take every role in the household. So it was really an uncertain time for women, but these two were just cunts.
Mm-hmm. You nailed it.
Thank you.
You nailed it.
I fucking appreciate it. Do it again.
Hey, Zach, watch it go.
What's that? What's that?
3 times.
What?
3 times.
Watch it go.
So Ed spent most of his time in North Fork outdoors with a .22 rifle that his grandfather had given him for Christmas.
I had the same thing. My grandpa gave me a .22 rifle.
My
wrote a song about it.
My grandparents gave somebody a .22 rifle too, and the bullet ended up in my kneecap. It's fine.
You live that gangster lifestyle.
Been spending most of my life living in a Utah paradise.
You're not wrong.
I think Utah and paradise sounds a little bit ridiculous together. But
yeah,
I couldn't put the Utah and gangster though together.
It worked.
So Ed was supposed to hunt small game with the rifle, but his grandfather had caught him killing non-game animals. So he took the rifle away. But shortly after taking the rifle away, his grandfather felt that Ed had learned his lesson. So he was given back the rifle with strict guidelines, and he had to promise that he would not break the rules again.
And
things went well.
Then on August 27th of 1964, after sleeping late, Ed made his way into the kitchen to look for something to eat. Edmund Sr. had run to the grocer, and Maud was sitting at the kitchen table writing a children's book. So that's what she did for a living. She was like an author.
Okay.
Maud was upset about Ed sleeping late, and she started making snide comments to him. She told him that he was useless when it came to helping around the house, and just kind of made him feel like an idiot. So the comment sent Ed to a dark place in his mind, and he stormed out of the kitchen and back to his bedroom. He returned a few moments later carrying his rifle. Maud looked at him, thinking that he was going to leave, and told him not to shoot any birds.
Now, before you go into this part, Grandma Maud there, she
Mhm.
would take his gun to town when she left because now, Ed, I told you not to shoot those birds, so I'm taking your gun because I don't trust you not to shoot the birds, Ed,
Mhm.
because he liked to shoot the fucking bird.
He
Uh,
loved to shoot the fucking birds.
Yeah. So, and she didn't trust him any further than she could throw him, which was not very far at all, obviously.
Yeah, I'm
She's
sure.
a smart woman.
Yeah, she was smart.
Apparently not very smart. How to
Well,
shoot someone with a rifle in their
Trusting,
hand.
smart but trusting, I suppose. If he was,
Yeah.
she'd rather him go out and shoot birds than.
If let's put it this way, if anyone like this in my acted like this in my family, I probably wouldn't even have a gun in the house.
Mhm.
Well, I would, but they'd be locked up in a code where. I mean, I don't have any guns. I lost them all in a boating accident. But if I did have guns, I would definitely have them locked up in like a
Mhm.
safe that nobody can find.
Well, I'm in Texas. I can tell you, I have some guns. Yeah,
Mhm.
and if you want it, you can come and take it. Come and take it. Anyway,
But
yeah.
well, Ed decided that he was going to shoot a bird, an old bitchy bird.
Yep.
Ed pointed the rifle at Maud's head and fired. Still fuming, he shot her twice more in the back. In a daze, he dragged her lifeless body to her room and stuffed her in the closet.
Well,
Because,
He's 50, he's 15.
what
at this
one
point, right?
does.
He's 15.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly where bodies belong, is in a closet. Yes,
and
he's 15.
I do like this next part coming up because it's like, yeah, that's what you get, bitch. And you're in the closet. My grandpa's gonna be so mad at me.
So he realized that his grandfather would be home soon, and
Maybe
with
if
a
we
sense-
put it in reverse, we can take the miles off. Sorry. Couldn't help myself.
with what Ed considered a sense of compassion, he decided that Edmund Sr. shouldn't see his wife like that. So Ed went outside to wait for his grandfather.
What a gentleman.
And when Edmund Sr. got home and got out of his car, Ed shot him as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it was quick. It was like pat in the head,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So dropped him, right in the doorway. So the car doors open, like he had literally just stepped out and stood up to
Well, I
his
mean, at least
side.
Ed's got some groceries for a week or so. I mean,
Right.
he's not going to go hungry for a while, but he's at the same time, he's also stuck in the middle of fucking did it again, in the middle of nowhere. And and there's nowhere for him to go. He's stuck. So
Yeah.
what's he do, Lindy? What's he do?
Yeah, but what's a week's worth of groceries to that guy, though? I mean, that's
It's like 2 days. It's
Yeah.
2 days, maybe 2 days. Yeah,
He's a
if he eats
monster.
light. Yeah.
So Ed wasn't really sure what to do. So he called his mother to tell her what he did. And Clarnell, being Clarnell, went on a tangent telling him what a stupid fuck he was and that he needed to call the police. So Ed made the call to the police and he went out and sat on the front porch waiting for them.
Yep.
Just sat there. So police arrested Ed, and when they asked him why he killed his grandmother, he said, I just wanted to see what it felt like to kill her.
I can honestly say I've never had a thought in my head as like, I wonder what it'd be like to kill grandma
No.
or grandpa or anyone. Period.
Any
In the story.
living
And that's why I guess I'm not.
A psychopath?
Yeah, probably not.
I've had those crazy thoughts in
Probably
my
not.
head of I'd like to bash that guy's face in, but it was only just because I was angry at the time. It wasn't because I really wanted to do it.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe I did
Well, I
wanna
don't think
do it,
I don't think Ed
but I
meant it
didn't.
either. I mean, obviously he was just it was a moment of anger.
mhm. Well, we're human, and unfortunately, the human nature is kind of a violent one, but
At times.
you don't act out on those violent
Impulses.
You could
not
think it,
like that.
just don't do it.
This way, yeah.
It's not.
I can say
recommended.
in my head a million times a day that I'm gonna fuck somebody up, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna do it. Well, for Ed's act, he was placed in juvenile hall, and psychiatrists at California Youth Authority assessed him. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, and on December 6, 1964, at 16 years old, he was placed in the Atascadero State Hospital for the Criminally Insane.
Nicely done.
Um, At the
When I first read that, I was like, how the fuck do you say that? I did it again. How the
I
hell do
don't-
you say that?
I don't think that anybody would know what to do if they didn't hear you say fuck in an episode.
Right. Yeah,
Well, we're
be the
good.
same.
I'm just gonna sit here and nod for the rest of the episode.
No, you're not.
Probably-
No, you're not.
At this point,
So at the time, Atascadero was severely understaffed. There were 1,600 patients, which included 24 murderers and 800 sex offenders.
There's so many stories about that back in the day of all those places where they were like, oh, yeah, we only had 12 people to watch these 2,400 people that were stuffed
Yeah.
into a place that wasn't designed to hold this many people. And
yeah.
There were only 10 psychiatric staff members.
Wait a minute. 10 versus what?
10 versus 1,600.
Wowzer.
So
that's a
Crikey.
fucked up ratio
that's
right there.
damn near 100 per person.
Honey, get me the bushy stick. Not that one. Holy crikey.
So Ed's behavior was exceptional, and he became an assistant to his psychiatrist. He and his psychiatrist actually even became friends. Being an assistant to the staff gave Ed access to test papers and diagnosis criteria. So Ed, having an extraordinarily high IQ, was able to teach himself what was needed to fool the clinics into believing he was rehabilitated.
But wait, he didn't even know he had a high IQ until he got there.
Mhm.
Because they tested him there, right?
Yes.
And then
Yep.
they let him start to study a little bit, correct?
Yes.
And then they tested him again, and then he tested even higher.
Yes. Yeah.
Real man of genius. Mr. Cohen, fucking killer. I did it again.
Oh.
Matt's keeping count for me. Thanks.
I'm done after that one. I don't care. You
All right.
fucking say whatever you want.
Well, the parole board pulled Ed up, and Ed's doctor recommended that Ed not be released, but he was unfortunately not able to attend the parole hearing. So on Ed's 21st birthday, the California Youth Authority saw no reason to detain him any longer.
Might I say just good call.
Yeah,
Good call,
Yeah.
guys.
Wait.
Good one.
wait, because their next one is even better.
I know.
With no aftercare plan beyond just being on parole and going to therapy, Ed was released to the person he hated the most, his mother.
Well, the first they tried to release him to his dad, but his dad would have nothing to do with him and said if he saw him again, he was going to kill him because
Mhm.
he killed his, Ed killed his parents.
Fair enough.
And then they tried to put him in a halfway house,
Yeah.
but they were full up. There's nowhere else for him to go.
Yeah. Well,
So
not surprising, Clarnell's third marriage had failed.
no,
Shaka.
Kidding
Um,
me?
that lady just needs a nice woman to live with that'll cook and clean for her, and she'll be just fine.
You know, there are things that don't talk back.
I know. Yeah.
She she had been able to find work as an administrator. I was waiting for one of you to do.
I was giving it to Matt. He just wouldn't take it. We can't leave that out there.
I enjoyed that you gave it to me. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but
Next time I warn you.
Okay. Clarnell had been able to find work as an administrator for the University of California, so she had moved back to California and was living in Santa Cruz. Ed being back in her care, he was again subject to her emotional abuse.
of course.
So he started to attend the community college. And
At this
he
point in his life, by the way, when I imagine her yelling at him, have you ever seen the movie Throw Mama from the Train? It's kind of dated,
Mhm.
but you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
That's what I imagine his mom being like, just like a completely worthless bitch.
If you don't know the
Mm-hmm.
woman he's referring to from Throw Mama from the Train,
It's the
from
same
the
lady
Goonies.
from Goonies. Yes,
Yeah.
it's the mom from the gang.
Mom.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A beautiful woman.
Come here.
We only serve tongue.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. So on on top of attending community college, he took work doing just odd jobs. His criminal record was expunged, and he was able to obtain a job with the California Department of Transportation in 1971.
Another good call. I mean,
Yes.
seriously,
Yeah.
this dude
I mean, he just laid on the charm. Just laid on the
slipping it
charm.
past everybody. Just
Ed wanted.
Now,
So go ahead.
I'm sorry. He learned all these tests they were giving him when he was still incarcerated before
Mhm.
this happened. He got so good at this test that they ended up letting him give this test to other inmates.
Oh,
Is
yes.
that correct?
Yeah, he was able to administer the test.
And then basically he would look at those responses, and that's how he got out. Because
that's
he's
how
like, this is what they want me to say, because that gives the positive response. So that's how he's learning what they want to hear.
And I think he even leveled it down to be like, I'm going to make a little bit dumber answers here so they don't think that I'm too smart, so that I am actually passing this test.
I mean, he was genius level IQ. So
yes.
Real man of genius.
He talks slow on purpose.
I have no
He
idea
dumbs
what
it
you're
down for
talking
sure.
about.
He actually later on, you'll hear a conversation that he has where he's actually using like his real intellect, and everybody's like,
WTF?
"What?
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute."
It was there the whole time. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So Ed wanted nothing more than to become a state trooper, but he was disqualified due to his size. He was 6'9" at this point.
He's like Hightower. He'd have to pull out the driver's seat and sit in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he weighed 300 pounds.
He should have been a wrestler.
It's a big man.
Yeah.
In order to qualify to be a state trooper, you had to be between 211 and 234 pounds. So,
Yeah, but some of them that were 230 pounds were like 5'4".
I think the height
that was
thing
okay.
probably is what screwed him more than
oh, I'm
anything
sure.
else.
Yeah, I'm
He
sure.
probably couldn't even fit in a squad car. But
That's what
all
I'm
he
saying,
wanted to
yeah.
do was be like a chips guy, right? Like right around the motorcycles.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's exactly
'Cause
what he wanted.
Yeah, love that show.
Come on, Ponch, let's go.
So while he was applying and testing for the police academy, he was able to make friends with several of the officers. And working for the Department of Transportation and his odd jobs, he was able to save up. And with the help of a roommate, he was able to get an apartment in Alameda. But he was unable to consistently pay his portion of the bills, and he ended up having to move back in with his mom.
Yeah.
So he's 21. He's unable to support himself. He has a mother who he hated and who hated and criticized him. He'd been in a mental institution for 4 years, and Ed just simply had no idea how to socialize.
These are all great tastes that don't taste great together.
Right.
It's not a good goulash, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did want companionship really badly. He wanted to be able to, talk to other people and actually kind of fit in to the best of his ability, but he just never seemed to be able to get past his blocks.
His own head. He couldn't get
Yeah.
out of his
Yeah.
own head.
Yeah. So
He's going to get into some other people's heads later, but he couldn't get past his.
his frustration gave him more fuel for his violent fantasies, just making them stronger and more frequent. And he decided to purchase a motorcycle, and he started to ride around Santa Cruz. And one day while he was out riding, a car hit him, and he ended up being awarded a $15,000 settlement in the civil suit he filed against the driver of the car.
Did he
And
get,
Ed,
did he get concussed during this? Because it's just like another thing on top of the fire of things.
I don't know, dude. Somebody this big, when you get hit by a car, it's probably like they just get up and just like, God damn it.
I'm picturing a gorilla on a bicycle.
Yeah. They get up and they jump on the hood of your car and just smash it.
Son of a bitch.
it's like seeing a grown man ride my motorcycle because it's a mini bike. So just
he just picks it up on his shoulder and takes it to the shop.
So with the money, Ed decided to buy a Ford Galaxy.
Nice.
So now he's got a vehicle with enough capacity for passengers, and
Oh yeah, that part's not nice. But
That's a nice car.
yeah,
yeah.
It was a
My
cool car.
cousin Derek had a Galaxy this past week.
So he started to cruise the highways and would pick up young female hitchhikers. He wanted to look at them and attempt to socialize. So he actually picked up around 150 young girls and dropped them at their destinations without any incident.
So fucking lucky.
But each person that he picked up was someone for him to study. And he wanted to see how they reacted to him and what made them feel comfortable and what would make them trust him. And each one of them was like a rehearsal for Ed.
Yeah.
So he would pick them up, and after dropping them off, he would fantasize about what he could do to them. And then he
swell guy.
started, yeah. Then he started to purchase the things that he would need to act his fantasies out. He started keeping a gun, handcuffs, blankets, rope, a hammer, tape, and a knife in his car.
What? I bet he
It's
walked in
just
and just
pillow
bought it
talk,
all at
baby.
once.
It's
dude.
just pillow talk.
Just bought it all at once. It's like the cashier's just like,
The fuck?
really? Really?
This
You don't
looks
have a
like a
bag of
great
lime
night.
in
Where
there?
are you going?
Shovel?
Oh yeah, I need a shovel too.
Thanks for reminding me. I'm gonna get a hatchet.
Or maybe some zip ties, you know?
You never know.
Okay.
You never know.
Well, on
Lube.
this.
Okay.
Moving along, Matt. Moving along.
He didn't need lube. Okay.
Yeah, at this point, it's just spit. There's no reason to stay sanitary here.
No. It's gonna get real bad real quick here. So we might
Yes.
as well just break it in.
So on May 7th, 1972, after a particularly bad argument with his mother, Ed went out looking for hitchhikers. Mary Ann Pesky and Anita Lukisa were on their way to Stanford University. They had planned to spend a few days in Berkeley. Ed offered them a ride, and the ladies got into the car. He drove around for a while, and then he turned off and went down a dirt road to a secluded area. He handcuffed Mary Ann to the back seat, and in the process, he accidentally touched her breast. He
Whoops.
was
I'm
super
sorry.
embarrassed.
Because he pulled a Forrest Gump.
Mhm.
I'm
he was-
sorry, Jenny.
Just, oh, sorry, I touched that. Oh, loaded my pants.
He was super embarrassed, and he apologized to her profusely. He then forced Anita into the
This
trunk.
never happens. This never happened to me before.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
It's the first time for me, lady. Oh.
He forced Anita into the trunk, and he attempted to suffocate and stab her, but Anita struggled. So Ed ended up slitting her throat. Then he turned his attention back to Mary Ann, and he stabbed her to death. He wrapped both women in blankets and put them in the trunk. And when he was driving, trying to decide what to do with the bodies, he was pulled over for having a broken taillight.
Yep.
The officer told Ed
Happened
to
during
get
the
it-
scuffle, didn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Anita had broken it.
Yeah.
The officer told Ed to get it fixed and sent him on his way. He then took the bodies home and decapitated them. He dumped the bodies, sans their heads, in a nearby ravine. Mary
That's-
Ann's remains.
Because I mean, like, what do you want? You know, kind of
Matt,
wanted
you've
the
heard the
heads?
song before. I want your skull. I need your skull.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's what it's all about right there. It's all
Mhm.
Kemper. Yeah.
Mary Ann's remains were found, but Anita's were never recovered. Now Ed's got some confidence in himself, right? So he
Yeah.
heads back out to pick up hitchhikers again on September 14th, 1972.
I'm all for everybody finding confidence
Now-
in themselves. It's just the way that he found it.
This was like all these incidents happen right after he would have a huge blowout fight with his mom. Is that right?
Yes, every one of them. Yes.
Everyone, he was lashing out at his mother. Like,
Mhm.
Mommy, can
Every
I go out
fucking
and kill
time.
tonight?
we'll go through so many Misfit songs.
I know,
probably
right?
With this episode.
Mommy's little monster.
Yeah.
Okay, let's stop. I love this.
I mean, that one's so
social distortion.
So September 14th, 1972, 15-year-old Aiko Ko was hitchhiking right after missing her bus to her dance class.
Yeah,
And
this,
She was like
this,
a
this was
was
the
it a
ballerina, right?
ballerina thing, right?
Yeah, and she was-
she wanted to make it there because her parents had
She missed
it
her
was like-
bus. Yeah, she still
yeah.
wanted to make it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Oh,
They're all hard to hear. But
this
they're
one's
all
the
hard
worst.
to hear, but this
out
one's
of all of them, this is the worst one. Yeah.
Ed picked her up and immediately pulled his gun. He told her he was thinking of committing suicide, but then he put the gun away. This actually caused Igo to panic even more than she had from just the gun alone. Um, and then he drove to a secluded spot and he got out of the car. Well, this dipshit left the keys in the car, somehow managed to lock himself out.
With
this
the
is
gun
what,
in the
this is
car.
what
With the
drives
gun in
me
the car.
Oh, it's so.
The gun's in the car, the keys
At
are
that
in the
point,
car.
We need to get like a what's the girl's name from Resident Evil? Mahovich, or what's her name? You know what I'm talking about?
Malia,
Yeah.
Mia Joel,
Jehovah. Yeah.
Jovovich?
We need one of those. We need a
Yeah.
hero.
Because this is the part where
We
it's
need
like
a hero.
you are sitting, you are in the driver's seat, you
Yeah.
have the keys, you have a gun.
All you have to
Mhm.
just
This
drive away.
cocksucker still. Okay, let me.
He
This guy.
She unlocked the door and she let him back in. So his way of thanking her was to tape her mouth shut and stick his fingers in her nose. She was unable to breathe, and once she lost consciousness, Ed pulled her out of the car, raped her, and then strangled her. He wrapped her body in a blanket and locked it in the trunk. And then on his way home this time, he stopped off at his favorite bar, the jury room, for a beer and to shoot the shit with his officer buddies.
Yeah.
The officers were all happy to hang around Big Ed, as they called him, and they were known to keep him up to date on current events and new leads on cases.
No.
Now
Kind
at
of
this
seems like
time-
this might be why his reign went as long as it did, because he would go in there and be like, "Hey, what are we talking about tonight? Oh, that he did it there. Oh, that's weird. You
Yeah.
probably ought to keep an eye on that place. So I'm gonna be over here."
Yeah.
Yes.
Now there was another serial killer.
There were
Mhm.
actually 3.
So that was where Santa Cruz got murder capital of the world.
Mhm.
Lost Boys. Oh, they changed.
Yeah. But I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
is the time frame that it was in.
Yeah.
So
Hillside
he's-
Stranglers were active.
Yeah.
Was there 3 of them? I think.
2.
Was it-
There were 2
Two.
Hillside Stranglers, and then what's his name? Herbert
2
Mullen was
Hillside Stringers.
active.
Then Herbert Motor, who thought the
They
world would
said-
end if he didn't kill a bunch of people.
And they said that they believed Bundy to have been in the area at the time as well.
Well, if Bundy was starting, then Green River Killer was probably not
too
known
far off.
about, but
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, Green
I
River
imagine
Killer.
he was. I imagine he was already killing. It's just
I'm
nobody
sure.
knew about it. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
As his numbers are winking in that episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Green River Killer is.
Any leads on them killers then?
So they would keep him up to date on the current events. And Ed, he left the bar and he took her body home to decapitate and dismember the remains. He disposed of her body parts in various places, but he kept her head in the trunk
Now he kept the other 2 girls' heads as well for a minute, did he
for a
not?
minute. Yeah. But he did
And-
end up tossing
he-
them.
He did
Yeah.
commit sexual acts with these heads.
Throat pipes. Yeah.
Um
You ever watch the movie High Tension? If you haven't, you should watch it.
Matt. So we have ourselves we've got ourselves a
A throat
necrophilia.
fucker. Throat
What?
fucker on the loose.
A dead throat fucker.
A necromancing throat fucker.
Yeah. Which makes it even worse.
Is he gonna bring him back to life? with
I
his
don't
seed?
think so.
Are we going
no.
back? Oh shit, that's Anthill Kid. Well,
Ugh.
seed to the
laugh
head
at us.
brings back lives. We learned it on Anthill Kids. We're there.
Who knows what he was doing?
We're all going to
Um,
We
hell.
know what he was doing.
Well, yeah. The following day, with Aiko's head still in the trunk of his car, he attended his meeting with court psychiatrists who continued to praise him for going to school and work and stated that they did not believe him to be a danger to society.
And he loved to
Anger.
get out of those meetings and go outside and pop his trunk and look at his trophies after he had done fooled those.
See, the story I heard was he put the head in a bag and he had
Yeah.
the bag with him in said psychiatry meetings.
Oh,
Yeah,
my.
I didn't know if that was true, but yeah, I'd heard that
That's
too.
what
That
I
he
heard
drug
that
it,
on
that he
2
actually brought it in
separate
because it wasn't stinking yet.
instances. Yeah,
Okay.
it's fresh.
That's-
It's
he
not
loved.
gone bad yet. Mm-mm,
Yeah.
This one's fresh.
This cheese got a couple more days till it turns, and we're good.
Ugh. Moving right along. Come on.
The day after that, the San Madera police received the record of sale for a 44 purchased by Ed. And Sergeant Alufi went to find Ed and located him pulling into the parking lot of the jury room.
See, I don't get why'd you buy a
No.
44? That's
Now, by
you
the
don't
way,
need that much, and it's expensive.
because everything was expunged from his record,
Mm-hmm.
but still, since he was involved in 2 shootings, he was not supposed to have a firearm.
Yeah, but everything was wiped clean, so nobody knew. So background
Well, they
check.
could still see. They basically took a black marker and put through his name. They could still read his name.
So
Now, the guy that went to go do this, he was a rookie cop. Is that right?
No, he was a sergeant.
Okay, but didn't he assign a rookie cop that basically pulled the short straw to go get this gun?
Sergeant Alufi himself actually went to find Ed.
Okay.
And he told Ed that he would have to take the gun until he could determine if Ed was authorized to own the firearm. So the sergeant took the gun from the trunk of Ed's car.
But
with
Ed wasn't sure which gun he
without
was
searching.
talking about. Is that correct?
Yes.
So Ed's like, what gun? And he kind of put it like that so that he would say, it says here you've got a 45. And he's like, oh, okay. Because at this point, Ed's shooting some of these women with 22 pistols. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, he was
Yep,
using
yeah.
22 at first.
Yeah. So, and he had the 22 under the seat of the car.
Yes.
Guess the 22
Yeah.
wasn't blowing his skirt up anymore, and he thought he needed to jump from 22 to 44.
Well, I think he was just a really bad shot, and he thought if he clipped them with a 44, it would do more damage.
Well, he's damn right about that, but still, the 44 is not a super accurate gun. 9mm, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. So Sergeant
Okay,
Alufi
I
took.
shouldn't be giving him advice to crazy people.
I mean, he's not doing anything with it now anyway.
That is true.
The sergeant took the gun from the trunk of the car.
Mm-hmm.
There's other things in the trunk of this car.
There sure are.
And then he returned to the station and ran a background check. Once the background check came back clear, the gun was returned to Ed. Sounds like a common theme here. On January 8th,
Here's your gun back, psycho.
yeah, on January
good
8th,
time.
1973, Ed picked up Cindy Shaw and took her into the hills. He forced her into the trunk of his car at gunpoint and shot her. He took the body home the next morning and had sex with the corpse. He decapitated the body and made sure to
Yes,
take
you
the
did.
bullets from her head.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Then, in broad fucking daylight, broad daylight, middle of the day,
Right
he
after his
buries
mom
her
leaves.
head under his window.
Yeah, because he wants her to be close to him.
But
Yeah.
he pointed her head up,
Up.
right?
Yeah, so he could talk to her.
Yeah.
No.
So that
His-
she
he's
would be
his-
looking
looking up to
into his window.
Yeah, just like his mom, like
Mhm.
people to look up to her. That was the whole point of that. Yeah, and he would have conversations in his head and have like this weird, like made up fantasy relationship with this decapitated head.
I don't know what doesn't seem normal about this. The cops should have given him his gun back. I mean, everything seems perfectly fine.
What's not normal about this to me is that it's broad fucking daylight. Nobody saw anything. It's
Nobody
fine.
cares.
Normal people
Just-
work.
What? I'm just digging a hole next to my window. I don't know what you're worried about. There's nothing to see here. Here's
He
a head.
then he then dumped the rest of the remains in the ocean near Santa Cruz. At this time, Santa Cruz.
Okay, I gotta go back because it was Santa Carla and Lost Boys.
Yeah,
It was
that is
based
correct.
off Santa
Yeah.
Cruz. But
Yeah.
Just in case anybody was, don't fucking text me. Whatever. You don't
we
have
know
my
our
number,
horror
but don't.
movies, okay?
Yeah.
All good.
So, with all of the missing girls,
Yeah.
going on, because remember now there's more than one active serial killer in the area.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz police and the university start to campaign about the dangers of hitchhiking. They put flyers out everywhere. They tried to administer a curfew, but
And
women's
they
empowerment.
also recommend that don't get a ride with strangers. Make sure that's somebody you know, somebody from the university.
Mhm.
And by the way, Ed's mom had
He had a sticker.
University parking sticker
Yeah.
because he would occasionally have to come pick her up, or she'd have to take his car to work.
Mhm.
So
Yep. So he had that nailed.
ding
Yeah.
dong.
Yes. So
I
after
forgot about that
another
until you just started talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, he had a fucking sticker.
Yeah.
after another fight with his
License to
mother
kill.
on February 5th, 1973, Ed went for a drive inside the college campus.
Of course.
He had obtained a parking permit from his mother, and that helped him blend in as a student and seem like less of a threat. So he offered Rosalind Thorpe a ride, and as they drove, they saw Alice Liu and offered her a ride as well. Ed was
This is-
confident,
This overconfident.
overconfident.
I cannot freaking believe that he got away with this.
Yeah, but how much has he got away with in the past?
No.
He's
but-
like he's
but
bringing
this-
heads in with him in places, and the cops are searching his trunk where there's body parts back there, and they still don't find him. So he's just like, "You dumb fucks! I
Just
can
let-
do
just
whatever I want."
Let her finish, because
Yeah, whatever. I do what I want.
this was not in some secluded place where this
Right.
happened.
No. So Ed was confident in his abilities now, and he pointed out a scenic view of the ocean. And when the ladies looked out the window, he shot Rosalind in the head while he's driving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Main road.
He's on campus, man. He's on campus when this goes down.
Yeah.
Just
Pulp Fiction shit right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brains all over the backseat. Well, I didn't mean to shoot him.
So Alice screams, and he
Of
stops the
course.
car. Yeah, right. I mean, I'd scream if brains just flew back into my face too. But he stops the car and he shoots her in the head as well. But Alice is a badass, and she survived the first shot.
Was this with the 44?
no, it's all 22.
I thought I was going to say
this 22? Okay.
it
Yeah.
would have to have been 23. You ain't. I don't think you're
Yeah.
Well,
44.
Ed shoots 3 more times. So
That'll do it.
then he moves the bodies to the trunk and he takes them home. He decapitates them, and then he had sex with one of the corpses.
Was the other
Left
one
the
not
other
up to his
one alone.
standards?
Maybe he wasn't in the mood. We don't know.
She was gross.
Overexerted because he had to pull his trigger finger 4 times that night.
Possibly. Yeah.
So he disposed of their
His
bodies.
trigger finger was the
in-
same size of his dick.
Hey.
All right, I'm sorry. It comes up
He,
later.
he disposed of their bodies in Santa Cruz and their heads in Pacifica.
Now,
Uh,
one of these girls that they never find her remains?
No, that was one of
That
the
was
first 2.
earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, that was I think it's Anita that they never.
Yeah, the second girl.
Find.
Yeah.
It was another 2 girl in the same car
He was-
situation.
He was
Yes.
Dexter before Dexter was Dexter. This guy was, he was so thorough. He was pulling out, he would take these bodies home so he could pull out the shells
Yes.
so that the bullets couldn't be traced
Mhm.
back to him.
Yes.
This
Well,
gun.
you sit around talking to cops all night. They tell you, "Ooh, this fucking idiot left the bullet in there," so we traced it back. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Note to self, don't do that."
Well, continue. I'm sorry. We got to get through this.
Well, on April 20th, 1973, Clarnell was a bit tipsy, as she was wont to be because she was fucking drunk. And she was just settling in for.
I'm
I
a
was going to try and keep going, but I couldn't.
I can be a bit
Fair
of a
enough.
drunk cunt too
Yeah.
sometimes. So I'll be drinking tonight right there.
I ain't waiting to be a bit of a drunk.
She was just settling in for the night when Ed came home. She decides to get snarky with him, and she told him that she was tired of him using her home like a hotel and not taking responsibility for himself. This caused an argument, and Ed's temper flared out of control. Well, Clarnell, unfazed, goes to bed, and Ed went and retrieved his killing tools from his car.
Imagine
Oh.
you fucking bitch. I'm fucking tell you, you treat me like this, and I can't wait to get in all my
We're not,
stuff.
hey, Matt, we're not talking about you're talking to your wife. No, this is.
That's not. That doesn't happen. No, she. No.
You don't talk to your wife?
No. Goodness, no. She would hate me if I talked to her. Have you ever heard me speak? It's always awful stuff come out of my mouth.
Me too.
Ed went back into the house and he watched TV in his room until he was sure that Clarnell was asleep. He crept into her room as silently as possible and stood over her, just watching her. Then he decided that it was time, and he raised his hammer and brought it down as hard as he could on her head. Clarnell
Claw.
screams.
Claw hammer, by the way. It's a claw hammer.
He used the back end of the hammer. Or, yeah, the claw end of the hammer.
Clarnell screamed and writhed in pain, bleeding excessively, profusely from her head, and then she went motionless. It took out his knife and decapitated her. Then he dug out her larynx from her neck and cut out her tongue. He carried her larynx and tongue to the kitchen and shoved them down the garbage disposal. He stood there laughing as bits of the ground flesh flew back at him. He would later tell investigators that seemed appropriate as much as she'd bitched, screamed, and yelled at me over so many years.
Because he still couldn't get her to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was still going in his head, most likely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Now,
I'm sure.
He knew a week before she died, right?
Mm-hmm.
He'd already decided she was going to die.
Yeah, their next argument. So one of the comments that she had made to him actually before she went to bed was, "I suppose now you're going to want me to hold your hand and stroke your hair and tell you everything's
stay up all
gonna
be
be
and
okay."
talk. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to sit up all night and talk now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
So-
didn't he go out and pick up some other girls just to see if he could not kill him before he went out before he killed his mom? He's like, okay.
I think he did. I think he did test himself every once in a while to see if he could take these girls places and then drop them off and not do it. Like just seeing if he could control himself.
Yeah.
That was actually Rosalind and Alice that he was trying to do that with. He was.
But I think there was a bunch that he actually did.
There was some right before, though. I thought, like, right before he killed his mom, he decided that his mom had to die.
I didn't read that.
Yeah, and these girls started freaking out on him because they thought he was going to kill him, and he was like, "Nope," because they thought he was going the wrong way, and he's like, "Nope."
Oh, right.
You
right.
think that's the right way? That's not the right way. I know where we're at, and he actually took them to the right way to get them back to the campus.
Okay.
And he might have done that to freak him out, just to get that sensation, but not go through.
Just to see if he could do it.
Yeah. Once again, just pushing limits.
Yeah.
See what he get away with.
Yeah.
Well. Ed decided to take Clarnell's head back to his room, and he sat it on his dresser. He took the darts from his dartboard and he threw them one by one at her head. And then he returned her headless corpse, and he returned to it, and he raped her.
Mm-hmm.
Once finished, he dismembered her body and hid the remains in a closet.
That's where they go.
Then he
establish that.
This Ed makes the first Ed look like an angel
in
comparison.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that first Ed didn't like killing. He just wanted the body. This one wants the body and the killing.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So once he finished stuffing her body into the closet and cleaned up, he went out drinking with his cop buddies.
Did you get to the throat stuffing part yet? Or is that coming up later? Because he did that to his mom too.
Well, he raped her. I didn't say where he raped her.
Her throat.
Thanks for cleaning that up for us, Matt. We really appreciate
Her
it.
body and her throat. He did her body, I think, until he was.
Now I'm gonna have to put a goddamn disclaimer on the beginning of this episode, Matt. Jeez.
He did. I think. I'm pretty sure he did her body until he's about there, and then finished off in her throat.
Yeah.
Which is what a gentleman does.
Right.
He'd been watching too many of the movies. He's just doing it wrong.
So, knowing his mother's friend Sarah, also known as Sally Hallett, would get suspicious if she
This works out well.
Yeah, if she wasn't able to get in contact with Clarnell, he reached out to her and invited her to come over for dinner.
I mean, he said he was trying to plan a surprise party for his mom, just a dinner with movie night, right?
Uh-huh.
Just the three of them.
Mm-hmm.
And she thought, it's a great idea. Let's do it.
Great idea.
Sally
was delighted to have been asked over and accepted the invitation. When she arrived, Ed strangled her, decapitated her, and stuck her remains in another closet.
That's where they go.
At this point, it's just old hat. mate. It's just a old hat.
I think it's people that he cares about that he stuffs in closets.
The rest of them he doesn't mind disposing of, or they'll never be found. It's just like, well,
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to.
I'm gonna throw her in a ravine. I'm
probably-
gonna throw her in the ocean. I'm gonna.
I've got an emotional attachment.
His
to these.
mom and this friend, they would often take long weekends and disappear for 3 or 4 days. So
Mm-hmm.
this also provided him an alibi, correct?
Mm-hmm. So Ed's now emotionally drained and feeling strangely relieved from his anger and his rage. So he goes to bed.
I'm cured.
Sleeps like a baby, I bet. Too.
Oh, I'm sure. The
Fucking
next
gross.
morning, he placed a note on his mother's bloody mattress that said, "Sorry, champs, for the mess. I had to go and did not have time." He found Sally's keys and took off in her car for Colorado, but he decided later to drop her car, and he ended up renting a green Chevy Impala.
Hmm.
He's listening to the radio for news about the murders, but after 4 days, he still hadn't heard anything. So he decided he needed to push it. And when he pulled into Pueblo, Colorado, he pulled over to a payphone and called the police in Santa Cruz. He confessed to murdering 8 women, but the police thought Ed was pulling a prank. And
Or drunk.
Oh yeah, he's a buddy.
Yeah, he actually had to call back.
Oh,
Several
that's just
times.
old odd Ed. Wait, that's the other one.
But it's the same shit though. It's the same shit. They're like, there's no way.
Same shit, different town.
He's a buddy of ours. He's all good.
He's like gentle Ben.
There's no way he fucked her throat. Okay, I got to keep bringing that up because it's just so disturbing.
It's
to me.
gross.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks
Uh,
for doing that, Matt. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so he had
It's
to call
part of
back.
the story.
It's part of the story. Ed was the throat fucker.
Yeah, see?
Made them dolls, right? Made them dolls. He made them all dolls, so they weren't
Yes.
real anymore.
Mhm. He finally convinced somebody to send Sergeant Alufi to his mother's house.
A Luffy. That does seem.
That's a little.
He is
aloof, isn't it?
aloof.
So on April 24th of 1973, officers arrived at a putrid-smelling home and found
Mhm.
all the proof they needed, confirming that Ed was in fact not pulling a prank. Alufi immediately called Pueblo PD and asked them to apprehend and detain Ed until he could get there. Ed was sitting in his rental car waiting for the police when they arrived. The district attorney and a group of detectives traveled to Pueblo to transport.
How's it going, guys? I ordered a pizza. It should be here in about 5 minutes if you want to wait.
Just hang out, have a seat. There's nothing in here. You're good. You're good.
No big deal. You see nothing.
hmm So the detectives traveled to Pueblo to transport him back, and on their way back to Santa Cruz, he started talking, but the officers told him, wait until we can get you in a room and on record. So he freely admitted to the killings, and he took the detectives to the bodies of his victims. Unfortunately, the one was not found. She had been swept away, and they just never recovered her remains.
Most likely eaten by sea life.
So he told the police.
Definitely not eaten by his dick.
He freely told police every detail of his crimes. He explained the rush he got from having oral sex with the decapitated heads, and told them,
You have to try it. It's awesome.
You've never done it before. I mean, how much could you possibly know about yourself?
"We don't talk.
just threw up my mouth a little bit. Don't do
Just
that.
right." He told
It's a
them
little dry.
not if he was doing it right after.
Okay.
Don't give anybody any freaking ideas, okay? Just no.
Don't you do it directly after?
All I can say is,
Pretty
people, if you're
Funny.
feeling a little distraught and you think maybe you need to cut somebody's head off and have oral sex with that head, I'd call somebody.
Yes.
I'm
Call
pretty
somebody to
sure-
come and get you
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that
immediately.
$20 from a live person would get you the same thing anyway. So
yeah.
Yeah, most
Probably-
likely.
Probably quicker too, and cheaper.
A little less gross.
a little. At least they're
Mm.
alive.
Yeah.
He told police if I killed them, they couldn't reject me as a man. It was more or less making a doll out of a human being and carrying out my fantasies with a doll, a living human doll.
Oh, that's Red Dragon. That Jeffrey Dahmer. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
He opened up to detectives about things his mother would do when he was little, like making him kill his pet chicken, which she then cooked and forced him to eat.
There's another one. Oh, there's another killer
It's a
coming up.
chickie.
That's the head of
It's a
pet
chickie.
that his mom killed in front of him too. I'm not going to get into it yet, but yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you
He
lose all. It almost seems like sometimes when that shit happens, is like you lose all sense of what it. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah.
You loved this thing. Your mother killed it in front of you just to be a cunt, and now life means nothing to you anymore.
hmm
Is it
One person that was supposed to love you more than anything else is treating you like a sack of shit, and
Yeah.
fuck the world.
Yeah, something like that.
Ed was never able to get past the emasculation he suffered from Clarnell and Maud. He was never able to bring himself to talk to females. He had still never been on a date. He'd still never kissed a girl or had consensual sex. He
I'll
turned
never
himself
kissed one
in.
consensually either, but I'm sure he did.
Turn.
Yeah.
Who knows what?
Oh yeah, I don't want to know what he really did. That lives in his head and it can stay there.
La 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 la.
Moving
He
on.
Yeah.
turned himself in because his original purpose was complete. He had gotten back at his mother.
And he knew that if he stayed out there, he was just going to do this again, and he didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, he was just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
So
And
his
the
trial
thing-
began.
The scary part is he probably would have gotten away with it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. With as many other active killers that were in the area.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, everything could have just been blamed on them. His trial began on October 23rd, 1973,
Mm-hmm.
and Ed's public defender tried for the insanity plea, but that was quickly proven invalid.
He's too smart for insanity. You know, there's
Mhm.
just bring up all that old shit and no, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Oh yeah. Ed asked for the death penalty either in the electric chair or in the gas chamber. Surprisingly, for the time and number of active serial killers, California had already abolished the death penalty.
Death
So they
penalty, yeah.
banned capital punishment.
Yeah.
His trial took yes.
I mean,
His-
I'm against it on some things, but if it's a fucking slam dunk, like it's 100%, you know for sure this dude did it.
Mhm.
There's no doubt of it whatsoever. I mean, if it's an itchy case, don't do
When
it.
the guy
but
comes up and says, "I killed 8
I did
people.
this.
I'm
Hey,
the
here they
devil."
are. I'm
Yeah.
going to show you exactly
just-
where I
let's
put these
just-
bodies
yeah.
and tell you what I did to
Let's
them.
not waste any taxpayer money on that.
Ride the lightning,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Or just put a bullet. That's cheaper.
Cheaper. Definitely
Mhm.
cheaper. Yeah.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper in a sense, but it takes more of a toll on the executioners.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you got.
I don't know, man. I
Don't tell
think we
me-
could
don't
sell
tell me
tickets
there
to
ain't
lottery.
somebody-
I think we'd sell lottery tickets like that, and people would buy them. They'd be like,
Oh yeah.
No, you get a dude that's already on death row for killing people who enjoys it, and then tell him, hey, we'll give you $3 at the, you can buy you an extra bag of chips or something if you just shoot this guy in the head. He'd be like,
It-
fuck yeah, I'll just give it to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just put one bullet in that son. He's like, that's done. Okay, that's terrible. I shouldn't have said that.
But you did.
But you did. The trial took.
That'll probably be edited out, right?
No.
No, okay, I didn't figure it out.
No, that's staying in. Yeah. You are fucked.
These are jokes.
Yeah, we know.
Joke.
We know.
It took 3 weeks, and jury deliberation only took 5 hours.
That's
It was-
pretty quick, actually.
Mhm. Ed was found guilty on 8 counts of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment. So Ed has actually never shown up to a parole hearing. He doesn't
doesn't
have
want
any interest in being released.
He shouldn't.
He is one of the first killers to cooperate and be interviewed by the FBI to assist in their gaining a better understanding into the mind of a serial killer and helping to develop what we now know as a profile.
Yep.
I think he
Um,
was created too. I seriously do think this one was created.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think that there things could have happened to.
Well, you got to
Avoid
have
this.
something going on in the first place, but then the environment that you're in caused
Yeah.
what you actually ended up doing.
Mhm. Ed reads books on tapes for the blind. He
When
has
you say
loved-
reads books on tape for the blind, he's read like how many books on tape? Like
It's a
300,
lot.
500? It's
he
a
has
lot.
logged over 5,000 hours of narrative. So,
including Flowers in the Attic,
yes,
Mm,
some Star
that's a
Wars.
good one.
some the Star Wars original Star Wars
Mhm.
trilogy adaptation, and then what was it? One of the Dune novels as
The-
well.
Mhm.
Oh, Dune. Yeah.
He's
One of
also
it's not the
done-
first one. I want to say it's like the second or third one in that, but yeah,
He's also done quite a few children's books.
because that's what every
Um,
You never hurt a child.
nope.
no, well,
Unless you consider those
except you're
college
talking
kids child.
Well-
and they're
tell you,
children.
unless you include the 15-year-old ballerina that he.
Yeah. Nope. He did. Yep. It's a child.
He is currently serving out his life sentence in Vacaville, California, where he has shared a cell block with people such as Charles Manson
Oh,
and
so small.
and Herbert Mullen. He
Okay.
is 74 years old and he's been incarcerated for 50 years.
I heard he made old Herb his bitch.
He did. He did
Yeah.
make old Herb his
Like
bitch.
fucking make him like whistle at him and make him do tricks like a dog.
Yeah, he trained him like a dog. He would give him treats if he did something right.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And that is fucked up. That's what tells you that his IQ test was probably pretty accurate.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ed's IQ is off the charts.
Just seeing what he could get away with.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Inmates. I bet he's having a ball in there. It's actually sad that he's in there enjoying his life so much.
Oh yeah, he
I don't
doesn't.
know.
I'm not sure that he's enjoying it. I think he's made the most of it.
I think he's a
So-
king in there, though. I mean,
I
I
think
bet
he
no
wanted-
one fucks with him. I bet he
think
gets whatever he wants because he's
Mm.
been so nice and everybody.
He did get in trouble with the FBI profilers. When they first started this, the profilers were going just in by themselves. It was just, they didn't do a 2-person team.
Right.
And the officer went in, and Ed's free. Like he's free to move around. They trusted him. Everything was really good, hunky dory. The officers, like the prison guards, would walk away. They'd go do other things. And he scared the shit out of the FBI officer by letting him know, we're scheduled for this much longer. And if I wanted to take your life in here, it wouldn't make any difference because I'm already in here for life. So what the fuck are you going to do?
Yeah.
Scared the shit out of the guy.
Yeah. It scared me when you said it.
Yeah. And then so he looks at the guy and he tells him,
Oh yeah.
yeah. He says, I'm just kidding, right? Because they went through this whole dialect, like the FBI
Do
agent
I?
was like, I'll shoot you, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I know that you can't have your gun in here.
That's true. He can't.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to in an
Yeah.
interrogation room.
Like-
Yeah.
The officers aren't coming back for a little while. You're the one who planned this. They've gone to lunch. Like, so yeah, at the end of the dialogue, Ed just looks at him and laughs and says, I was just kidding, right?
I could strangle you out before they get back, and you
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
be able to do a damn thing about
You're
it.
not my type.
So
And I'm
from,
just-
yeah.
yeah, from that,
because you're not a tiny petite fucking college girl.
I don't
that
like the
day
shape. I
forward,
don't
they
like
have-
the shape of your pear-shaped head, there, boy. It's not going to work out.
from that day forward,
You do have a pretty
FBI
mouth, though.
profilers have gone in teams to do the interviews.
And listening to some of the interviews that he's done.
Yeah, you can find some of
he's
some
a
of these
creepy
interviews
bastard.
online.
He's so
I found
honest.
a couple on Spotify.
Yeah.
He's completely delusional. It sounds like everything that he has is pre-rehearsed. Like if
Mhm.
somebody tries,
Yeah, well,
if
he's
somebody
all,
interrupt-
he's thought it all out.
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
If somebody interrupts him, it really fucks up his train of thought. And he has
Mhm.
to like go back 2 steps before he can come back.
I got this song memorized, and if you,
Yeah.
I got to go back and figure out.
Oh
where
shit!
I
No.
left
We gotta go
off.
back to the second verse now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is one of those things. Yes, exactly.
So
It's
very
like
good.
it's like all he does with his time is sit around and think to himself, well, what questions are they going to ask me? Okay,
Mhm.
these are the answers I'm going to give. And if somebody throws him off a loop, he's like, fuck.
I'm not saying he's been 100% accurate, but he had been fairly accurate. I think he gave fairly close answers to a lot of different people to several different questions.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to think if there's anything that we missed. I'm sure there is.
Oh, I'm
there's
sure that
just-
there is.
This should have probably been another 2-parter, to be honest with you, because there's so much to this case.
Oh, there is. But
Yeah.
him like any other serial killer, you have to take what they say with a grain of salt because
Or a machete, or
yeah.
a 22, Or
Because who knows what?
or a small penis to the throat. And, no, well,
What's
what
that,
I was
Matt?
thinking about is like
Did he
we
have
go
a small
through.
penis, Matt? Is that what you're saying?
That's what that was reported.
Okay.
It was reported. I was thinking we go through a bunch of serial killers and then we go back and talk about like
The dick
things
size?
about
Is that
serial.
what you're going for? Or what?
No, things about serial killers, and then we can get more into what each one did as
As we go.
if you go through like the breakdown of serial.
Well, we've knocked out 2 Eds in the first year, so that's not bad.
We have knocked out 2 Eds in the first year. Yep.
And they are definitely on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yes, one I feel sorry for at first. The
Yeah.
other one I feel sorry for. No, they're not different. I feel sorry for both of them at first, and then I hate both of their guts at the end.
I was actually just talking to one of my buddies that lives in my neighborhood here, and his girlfriend, her mom worked at the facility where Ed Gein lived out his incarceration days.
Yeah.
She's got lots of stories, apparently.
He lived until the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 84, 85, somewhere in there, I want to say.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but
Ed, like Ed Gein? Yes.
Yeah.
He lived until the 80s.
so well, thank you for thoroughly screwing my head up this week. Appreciate it. We've had 3 weeks off from, murder and mayhem and necrophilia, and I guess it was just time to get back into it.
Just take it as it comes, man.
Oh, let's do something different next week. I don't even care what it is, but something different, please.
Okay.
We always try to keep it changed up, keep
Yeah.
everybody on their toes.
We'll do your thing, or we'll do my thing. We'll make it a surprise.
Yeah,
Does that sound good? All right. Well, once again, thank you for hanging out with us. Be sure to tune in on Saturday evenings to the STS sessions. We do a live stream at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube Live. Matt would like to tell you that he's going to beat your ass if you don't go on and rate the podcast, because he's tired of people not rating the podcast. And let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Please do. Just please do.
Yeah,
so easy to do.
Lindy,
So easy to do it so quick.
Great job.
So
once
quick and
again.
easy.
Very well done. I couldn't have done it any better. And an hour and 15 minutes. And that's all I got. I'm going to try not to say fuck again. Whoops.
Hey. Quit counting, because I don't fucking care.
All right, well. Anyway, I'm Zach. Thanks for hanging out with me. And that is Matt. And that is Lindy. And I guess we're going to see you next Tuesday, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Later.
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 It's evil! Don't touch it!
It's alive!
I was with you.
They're coming to get you. God of Christ. This is
Hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
At this time, the Santa
Stan,
Cruz.
get down. I just borgy.
Worky.
He's a cheeky. Put that thing away. Don't put it out with your boots, Stan.
Get down.
Don't
Stan.
tell me.
Get down.
Don't tell him my business, devil woman. All right, where were we? I'm sorry.
I don't know. No idea what we're even doing right now.
Okay.
So good.